Chapter 35. Trouble arises within the family. On the days, ZhuXian true man had not returned yet, but among the crowd, whispers and murmurs could be faintly heard. When the trio of Shiyu master and disciples returned, they saw the crowd parting on both sides, while Zhang Xiaofan remained kneeling alone on the ground. ZhuXian seemed to hesitate for a moment, but after a stern gaze from Shiyu, she silently walked to stand behind her. After a moment, ZhuXian true man slowly walked out from the back hall and returned to his seat, and the hall instantly fell silent. However, ZhuXian true man didn't immediately question Zhang Xiaofan. Instead, with a hint of apology on his face, he turned to the side and said to the Pu Hong god monk, "Brother Pu Hong, my disciple has been rude. Please forgive him." Pu Hong smiled slightly and clasped his hands together, saying, "Brother ZhuXian, you're too kind." At this moment, King Song Daosheng walked over, holding the burning stick that belonged to Zhang Xiaofan, and placed it on the coffee table next to ZhuXian true man. ZhuXian frowned slightly, looking at him with a hint of doubt in his eyes. King Song Daosheng whispered, "Brother, after you left just now, the situation became a bit chaotic. This item is of great importance. To be cautious, I decided to take it away, and now I'm putting it back here." ZhuXian nodded, saying, "You're thoughtful, brother." King Song Daosheng then stepped back, and ZhuXian true man's gaze once again fell on Zhang Xiaofan. Everyone tensed up, knowing that the moment to decide the fate of this young man was approaching. "Zhang Xiaofan, I will ask you one last time. Do you have anything to say?" Sweat beads appeared on Zhang Xiaofan's forehead. The situation had already become extremely dire. However, having been in Qingyun Sect for many years, he knew the taboo of probing into the sect's secret techniques. If he really spoke out, he couldn't even predict his own outcome. Moreover, Elder Putzi, who had passed away for many years, might not only have his reputation damaged, but even his burial site might be removed from the Tower of Transcendence in Tianyin Temple. Furthermore, Elder Putzi was one of the 4 great monks of Tianyin Temple. Would anyone believe him? That was another question altogether. He struggled inwardly, sometimes thinking of Elder Putzi's kindness, sometimes thinking of the grace of his sect. But being forced to betray Elder Putzi felt like being forced to die. He couldn't make a clear decision in a short time. However, everyone in the hall wouldn't give him any more time. ZhuXian watched Zhang Xiaofan's expression change after hearing his question, his face changing from cloudy to clear. Although there were sweat beads on his forehead, he remained silent, recalling the scene when the disciples pleaded for him just now. Along dormant anger suddenly surged in ZhuXian's heart. It was as if 100 years ago, that white figure knelt on the jade clear hole like this, in front of the 3 Pure One statues, in front of the teachers and elders, and even in front of fellow disciples begging for mercy, but still remained as arrogant and disdainful as ever. Sitting at the far end, Shiyu, looking at ZhuXian's face from a distance, trembled slightly, a hint of sadness flashing in her eyes, slowly lowering her head. Bang! A loud noise shocked everyone. ZhuXian true man seemed to have lost patience at last, suddenly stood up, pointed at Zhang Xiaofan angrily, and shouted, "Evildoer, back then, I took you in because I thought you were pitiful, but I didn't expect you to be a disaster." Zhang Xiaofan's body shook, raised his head, opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but ZhuXian true man's face was as cold as ice, his voice icy. "If I don't get rid of you today, how can Qingyun Sect justify itself to the righteous path? Well then, let me fulfill your ... Everyone's complexion changed. Tia Bai suddenly stood up. ZhuXian, Tia Linger, Lin Jingyu, and others all turned pale. Even Pu Hong, the god monk from Tianyin Temple sitting beside him, seemed to hesitate and whispered to ZhuXian, "Brother ZhuXian, should we reconsider this ... ZhuXian snorted coldly. "This evildoer harbors demonic artifacts and violates our righteous path's major taboos. His sins are grave." Saying this, he picked up the burning stick placed on the coffee table and said, "Today, let you die under your own demonic artifact ... double quotes. Zhang Xiaofan's mind buzzed. Everything turned blank for a moment, and everything seemed to lose its color in front of his eyes. He could only vaguely see ZhuXian raising his arm, his master Tiabai's face turning iron blue, as if he was about to say something, and the Qingyun disciples around him were in chaos. In the hall, it seemed that someone was about to be splattered with blood. Suddenly, a loud shout, shocking the entire hall. In horror, everyone turned pale. Unexpectedly, it was ZhuXian True Man who was trembling violently. He roared, throwing the burning stick away as if it were scalding his hand. The burning stick flew through the air, landing on the ground with a clang, bouncing a few times, rolling to Zhang Xiaofan's feet. At that moment, everyone saw a black shadow rise from the burning stick, hovering in midair, making strange squeaking sounds. After a while, it was a centipede-like creature the size of a palm, with dazzling colors and 7 bifurcated tails. At this moment, it vibrated and shook, its appearance extremely arrogant. Zhang Xiaofan froze, his whole body trembling suddenly. His gaze stared straight at the creature in midair, something deeply imprinted in his memory. 7-tailed centipede. In an instant, time seemed to flow backwards, roaring and roaring like a rushing torrent, taking him back to the Black Night many years ago. The night when Elder Putzi fought the mysterious figure, and he lost everything in the bloody night. His whole body trembled, surrounded by an endless aura of blood rising from the depths of his heart. He reached out and grabbed the burning stick tightly, but at this moment, no one noticed Zhang Xiaofan's anomaly. Everyone's gaze and attention were on ZhuXian True Man. The elders of Qingyun Sect were not ordinary people in their knowledge and experience. In the blink of an eye, they surrounded ZhuXian True Man, especially when they were separated from the 7-tailed centipede. When everyone looked at ZhuXian True Man, they couldn't help but pale. ZhuXian True Man's right hand trembled, and there was a wound on his middle finger, evidently injured by the 7-tailed centipede. In just that moment, the blood flowing out was already black. But what was more terrifying was that from the wound on his fingertip, a horrifying black gas, almost visible, rushed upwards at an alarming speed. The 7-tailed centipede was renowned for its extreme toxicity, even causing trouble for someone as accomplished as ZhuXian True Man. ZhuXian True Man suddenly felt dizzy and nauseous, but with his high level of cultivation, surpassing even that of Elder Putzi from the past, he immediately steadied his mind. With his left hand forming a blade with his fingers, he swiftly drew symbols in the air, instantly slowing down the black gas's assault. At this moment, King Song Dao's Hang rushed to his side, firmly supporting his body. Seeing the wound on ZhuXian True Man's hand, he turned to Zhang Xiaofan and shouted, "Zhang Xiaofan, you villain! How dare you secretly harm our sect leader?" The crowd gasped in shock, and Zhang Xiaofan exclaimed, "No, it's not me.